The project we're gonna make today has been on my list to do for a really, really long time. And I'm embarrassed to say that actually, but we're finally gonna get to it. And I got so excited about making this project that I actually created 2 different versions of this project for cut files that I'm gonna be giving to you for free. And I'll tell you more about that later. But what do you think we're gonna make today? With the holiday seasons coming, this is the perfect project to make. And what we're gonna create is a giving plate. So let me take you into Silhouette Studio and show you what we're gonna do. Okay, so like I said, I have 2 different versions of the giving plate file for you. This is version number 1. It says giving plate, which will go around the edge, and then in the center of the plate, it will have this section here. And then the other design has this that goes around the ring of the plate, and then it says the giving plate in the center. And when I was creating these, I just couldn't decide which one was gonna be more awesome. So I created them both, and I have both of them for you. And oh my gosh, I don't know which one I want to make. I think I want to make the one that has the giving plate on the rim. So let me show you the supplies that we have. Okay, so I have this lovely glass plate that I picked up from the Dollar Tree. You are going to need a glass plate to do this the way that we're gonna do it, because I'm gonna use etching or armor etch on this, the etching cream. And we're gonna etch everything into the back side of the plate. That way you can still put all of your food and everything on the front of the plate, and everything is going to work out. And maybe you've seen the videos before. The videos where I tested out what kind of vinyl works best for etching. And the big takeaway from that video, and I'll link it up here, but the big takeaway is it doesn't really matter. It's more about your technique. So I decided, since we're just gonna scrap the vinyl, I'm using Dollar Tree vinyl for this project. If you don't know the backstory behind a giving plate, it is basically a plate that is meant to be passed along. It's not owned by anybody, and it's meant to be passed along. You fill it up with your goodies, you pass it to your neighbor, your friends, your family, and then they fill it up and pass it along. So it's perfect for the holidays. I think I'm probably gonna make a couple different versions of this and pile on some cookies and hand out to the neighbors for the holiday season. So let's jump in and get started making our vinyl stencil that we're going to use on our plate. Okay, so like I said, I love this one, but I think for this demonstration, I'm going to use this one. Now, I measured out my plate, and these are made for my particular plate. So let's see, this is about 10.5 inches wide is the outer edge. And then this inner circle, which is where you're gonna put kind of the other part, is 6.5 inches. So just keep that in mind when you're doing this, because that's gonna make a difference too of if you're going to resize this design. And the way I've got it created right now, everything's grouped together, but I think it might be easier to do these in 2 separate pieces instead of laying it all together, because that plate is curved, it's got some curves up the side. So I think that's gonna be easier. So what I'm gonna do is ungroup. It never works the first time. Ungroup, my dear. There we go. Okay, so now you can see these are now 2 separate pieces. And then I'm just going to draw out my circle. If you hold down the Shift key, I think it's Shift and Alt or Option on a Mac, will give you that perfect circle. So I'm going to make this one, what did I say, 6.5 inches. And then I'm gonna pull that and I'm gonna select this center piece, and then I'm going to center those together. And then I'm going to group them together. And what this is going to do, that's going to give me, the circle is going to give me that inner edge of my plate that I can place this on there. So that's one group. And then this outside circle I said was 10.5. So Shift and the Alt key. And now we can just resize this circle to 10.5, hit enter. And then I'll grab, holding down the Shift key, I can grab both of those and then center them together. And really, I can make another circle in the center here, and then we can make this one like, I don't know, 7 inches. And then we can group, we can get all of those centered. And then actually I can, let me group that. Put this back in there, grab everything, center it to the page, center it together. Okay, why did I make all of these different circles? Let's look at our plate. The outside of our plate is 10.5 inches. That 7-inch circle is gonna come up this lip a little bit, and that's just to help, one, to save vinyl so that I can cut this out in 2 separate pieces. And then the center ring is 6.5, so that's gonna be for that center piece. So I've got like this much area to cover for there, and that's just to make the stencil portion. I hope that makes sense. Okay, and because we're making this as a stencil and we're gonna put this on the back side and we want it to read through the glass, let me think about this for a second. If it's gonna read through the back side, we do need to mirror. So I'm gonna grab everything. And here we go, mirror. We're gonna mirror a copy. We can get rid of the original. Whoops, Control Z to undo. Let me grab everything. I grouped it together. Now I can center that back to my page. Okay, we got that sorted out. Now our file is ready to rock and roll. And then remember, we're making this a stencil. So we're going to cut out, we're going to peel out all of the words, and that's where we're going to put our etching armor on those words. Okay, now I have a roll of vinyl, but it's not like a really great roll. So I'm just going to feed this into the machine without a mat. You can do this with the, was it like the Cameo 4 and newer machines can all do matless. You'll have to let me know if a Cameo 3 can as well, I'm not sure. So to do that, we're gonna come to our page setup. I've got my machine chosen. My feed type is still manual. For cutting mat, I'm gonna say none. And then my media size is still gonna be that 12 by 12. That's the size of my vinyl that I have. And you can see it's gonna fit perfectly fine on that 12 by 12. So now we're gonna come over to the send panel. Everything is selected because I want all of it to cut. I'm gonna change my material. I have found that the Oracal 651 setting works pretty well for this. Where did it go? Talking and scrolling at the same time doesn't always work. Okay, we want permanent. Oh my gosh, my brain today. What did I say? Vinyl. Here we go. Good Lord. Vinyl, Silhouette, Oracle, 651. There we go. Whew. That was a struggle. Sorry about that. Okay, what I found is that it works well when you change that blade depth to 2 instead of 1. And then you can leave that force at 10, speed of 5, 1 pass. And that seems to work really well. So let's go ahead and get this loaded into the machine. So what I had to do, let's move that out of the way. You want to start with make sure you have a nice straight edge. So I did take this to my paper trimmer and made sure I had a nice straight edge. It makes it a lot easier. I've already pulled in this side because you want to make sure it runs on the edge. And then you can adjust these middle rollers wherever you need them. So what I'm going to do is just try to get this. I do find it a little bit more difficult doing matless with vinyl than I do with cardstock to get it fed in. This is where I struggle. So don't laugh at my struggles, okay? We're gonna load that in. Okay, that did not load straight. So let me try that again. Okay, so you see how it got stuck right in there? This is my struggle. So I'm just gonna take this end and I'm gonna try to get it out of that groove. Sometimes I have to just lift and move my rollers to get it out of there. I don't know why it goes under there. Okay. And then sometimes it doesn't work and you just eject it and try it again. This is the struggle of matless with vinyl. Okay. Okay, let's see. And this material is a little bit thinner too. So I think maybe that's part of it. Okay, we got it in there. That looks good. I have a major crease right there, so I'm gonna feed it past that because I don't mind wasting this Dollar Tree vinyl, but I do wanna make sure that everything's gonna look nice. So let me feed that in. Nope, down. Past that little area. Okay, everything looks good there. I can leave it just like that. Put my roller back. And then all I have to do is hit send and let this cut. It says let's look at this. Some of the cut lines in this design are overlapping the cut border. So only parts of the design, oh, okay. I do not want to continue. Let's go back and turn on that cut border. Okay. So all I need to do is take my design, scoot it up just a little bit, and then that'll take care of that. Everything's in that cut border. It thinks it's only cutting a 12 by 12, even though I have it on a roll. And actually what we can do is we can say that my media size, we can leave that alone. That'll be fine. Now we can send. Everything else looks fine. Let's go ahead and hit send again. There we go. It's loaded. Everything looks good. We can go ahead and hit send. And then it's going to go ahead and start getting everything cut out for us. Okay, I won't sit here and make you watch it cut everything, so I'll be back when it's done cutting. Okay, it is all done cutting, and I can already tell the cut looks good. These pieces are already peeling up. It did fold a little bit, and that is part of using cheap vinyl. But the other thing that I want to show you that we can do now, whenever you do like a matless cut, especially with like your vinyl and your heat transfer vinyl, it gives you this auto crosscut feature. And I have it set like relative to the job. And right now I'm going to enable it. And the offset, you can see down here, it's going to cut it. This blue line is what it's going to cut. So now I'm going to just mark my material as no cut. And then let's see, nope, you have to choose the darn it. I didn't think about doing the cross cut. You have to choose it when you choose your cut, but that is also an option. I just wanted to show you that. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna be able to use that because now that I've checked to not cut any of this. So if I would have done go ahead and cut it, and then did enable the cross cut, you can see that blue dash line. That is where it would do your cross cut. So that's a cool new feature that got added to the Cameo 5 portrait. What is it? Portrait 4 Curio 2. Whew, there we go. That is the new feature that it came with. So it will cut it like off the roll for you. So I just wanted to show you that. We're not going to use that. So let's come back over here and we can just go ahead and unload everything. And then I can certainly try to come in with a pair of scissors and cut that. Wish me luck. Me and straight lines don't match, and there's no grids on the back of this, but I can kind of hold it up to the light. I know you probably can't see that, but I can see where those cut lines are, so I can at least try a straight-ish line. And then I will just have to take this to my trimmer again and cut a actual straight line, because that is not it. Okay, so now let's go ahead and just weed out our design. So I'm going to come in, and this is just all of my excess around the cut. And because we had those lovely spots where it like folded, some of these did not cut that great. So I can come in here with my little scissors and snip that. Okay, so that is my big outline. And then I've got this gap between the two layers. So remember we made that bit, like the bottom of the big circle, and then for the small circle. And right there is where it folded, so that didn't want to cut great. And then we are going to pull out all of the words and the lettering, but you want to try to keep the centers in place if you can. And that's the fun part. I don't know if this was maybe not the best choice in vinyl because it does not stick that great to its own backing. So weeding some of these smaller pieces, we'll just see how it goes. But that's something else to keep in mind as you're weeding things. And as you're choosing your vinyls, like, yes, something like this where you're throwing the vinyl away, a cheaper vinyl would be fine, but also how great does it actually stick to its backing material? And if it doesn't stick great to the backing, the weeding out small letters could end up being a problem. So I'm just going to go around and weed all of this out. I find this therapeutic. Maybe you find it therapeutic to watch this. But let me just show you. Okay, so there's one section done. Okay, I am not going to make you sit here and watch me weed everything out. So I will be back when I am done weeding. Okay, so I just want to kind of show you another technique for weeding In case you're like me and you're finding this is taking forever, and some of these pieces have already lost the centers, and you know, some of that I'm just gonna have to give up on. But the other thing you can do is what we call like a reverse weed, where you can go ahead and bring in your transfer tape, and then we will get it all put on our transfer tape. See, this I can cut straight because it's got little marks on it to show me where to cut. Question is, can I cut it long enough? So then what you do is you get everything on your transfer tape and then you weed it out that way. And for this cheap vinyl where it's like not sticking really great to its own backing, this might be a great technique to help keep all of those little centers and everything so that you get the nice weeding job that you would like to get. Because what I'm struggling with is the centers are not staying on the backing, and some of them are just coming up and getting lost. So this is another way to work around that. And you see we got this lovely bump here, and I don't know. Can try to press that back out again. You know, cheap. But we might be able to rub that out. We'll see. I'm not going to worry too much about it at this very moment. Let me think about this because I should have done the center first. That is the only other problem if you do it this way. So I think I'm going to cut the center out and then I'll worry about the outline. Let's try that. This is a lot easier to do when you have regular designs, or test cut your transfer and send it through your machine and get those same lines, or circles, I mean. So it's the same size. I mean, that is also another option. I'm giving you all sorts of options of how to do things today. That's what I'm here for. Okay, this is not going to be perfect by any means, but we'll see if this technique is any easier. All right, and I'm not going to probably pick up all of it. Let's see. All right, same difference. I'm not going to pick up, you can see it's not going to cover the entire circle. That's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect with the transfer, but I do want to make sure that I'm getting the majority of it. And then I've got my scraper tool. And let's see if I can scrape out some of those bumps. Okay, you really just have to forgive me today. My energy is not normal and neither is my brain. I have been under the weather the past few days, but I really wanted to get this done for you so that way you could get this created before the holidays. So if this is something that you want to do, even for Thanksgiving or whatever, you have it. So now I'm just going to try to peel that entire thing off. So now you can see my transfer, everything came with it. Leave that on there. Okay. And then now what I do, also like it's a lot easier to see what the centers are on this. So now if I pick something that has a center on it, I'm hoping things are going to be stuck down to this transfer a little easier. Oh yeah, that's so much easier. The centers stayed in there. See what I mean? Like, so now this is the sticky side facing me. So the only other issue with that is that you risk now like getting it not so sticky that it's not going to stick really well to your glass. So pros and cons of all of the different ways of doing this, but I just wanted to show you that there is another option in case you are using the cheap vinyl like I am and you're struggling. Now these are going to make it a little bit more difficult for me to peel off because this transfer tape, while it is like a masking tape, it has good tack to it, but now everything's really sticking a lot better than it was to that other sheet, so this is actually going to take longer. But that's okay. I'm okay with it taking longer because now I can get the job done correctly. What else did I want to tell you? Oh, do not bother with the transfer tape from the dollar store. The last time I tried it, I spent the majority of my time trying to peel the transfer tape back off of my project after I used it, and it left debris and goo all over the vinyl and all over my base material, and so it's just not worth it. If you wanted to use something cheap, then go buy some painter's tape or some masking tape. Do not bother with the transfer tape from the Dollar Tree. Okay. Let me finish doing this and I will be back when it's done. Okay, I got this one all sorted out. You'll notice I had a couple of the P's and B's that did not keep the centers, and then also the A's were like so teeny it wasn't worth it. And then I got a couple other letters that are missing, but I'm trying to keep most of the centers. That is also a personal choice that you can decide. And then this one here is all done. But I think what I'm going to do with this one, some of that needs to really be scraped out. So I'm going to do something a little bit unconventional. And I'm only going to apply my transfer tape to part of it up here. And then I'm just going to get that pressed. And I'll kind of explain as I do it. Okay, so this is going on the back of the plate. So here's my plate. It has a little number engraved on it, and the type A person in me wants that number at the bottom. I've got my bit of rubbing alcohol here. You want to make sure you have a nice clean surface. So I'm just going to clean everything off really well. Just got a lint-free cloth here. And yes, I realize I'm touching it, but it's kind of, you can't like not touch it, you know? Okay, that looks good. All right, there's my little number. I'm going to keep that there. So now I'm going to take my center and I'm going to put this in first. And I'm going to try to get this center in the center the best that I can. So what I can do is just try to fold it in half. And I've got that number sort of centered here, and it should be all the way to the bottom lip, all the way to the top lip. And we'll just fold that out, and then I'm going to start pressing from the center. And then remember, we're doing this upside down, or not upside down, mirrored, that's the correct term, because when you read it, you're going to be reading it from the other side of the plate. Now, I like doing this with a glass plate and doing the etching cream, because if you could, I suppose, do vinyl on the inside of the plate, but like that's where your food goes, and I just don't feel like food chemicals and vinyl in my book don't really go together. Okay, now I'm just going to try to gently peel back my transfer and try to get all of my vinyl to stay put. And that is going to be the true test, is if my vinyl is going to stay put. And are all of the centers of my little letters going to stay put? And the answer is no, they're not. So that means you get to come in here and scrape, scrape, scrape with your scraper like it's your job. Or you just have to decide that you're okay with not having the centers in your letters. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that is a personal preference. If that is, you don't mind the letters looking like that, you can certainly do that. I think with the other design, it would be a lot easier to keep the centers because the words are larger. This is definitely the more difficult of the two. See, I lost the center R there. We'll see. We'll see how this looks. I might have to just decide that it's okay that all of my centers don't stay. Also knowing that this is going to have etching cream on it, and if those little small tiny pieces aren't pressed down that well, that it's not going to matter so much if the centers are there or not, because if it's not pressed down well, it's not going to stick. And then the etching cream will get into those spaces anyways. But I'm just going to try to take my time here and try to really, and then that one's like upside down. And then some of these I tried to like place the centers back in, and I probably got them to stick, but like the sticky side is stuck to the transfer instead of stuck to like didn't get them put back in the correct way. But I'm trying really hard to get at least my O's to stay. I don't know. I personally like the look with the centers in. I like that better than without them. But that is just my personal preference. All right, come on, O's. Well, I think I'm gonna have to give up on some of the on some of the R's. Don't all have centers. Okay, now you can see there's still there's some wrinkles in my vinyl, which out here is not a big deal, but I cannot have wrinkles in the vinyl right here by my letters, because that is where all of the etching cream can seep under those letters and make it a not clean. Oh, there's my O. It'll make it look not so clean. Oof, my hair's getting caught in the transfer. So you do want to take your time and try to get all of the air and the wrinkles out right around your letters. So that way you will make sure you'll have a less likelihood of things seeping out and making your letters not so crisp. Again, I think this is the more challenging of the two. These are tiny, tiny letters. I think the other design is probably a lot easier to do. But, you know, why would I choose the easy route when you can do this? That's just me in a nutshell. All right, that looks pretty darn good. Let's go ahead and grab our other design. Now, like I said, I only put the transfer arm part of it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here, and then I'm actually just going to cut the backing away. So here's where things get a little bit more difficult. This part of the of the plate is tapered. You can see it bows out to the side. So what I'm gonna do is just take this top half, and actually I'm gonna turn it around to me so I can see better what I'm doing. And I'm just gonna try to get the edge of my vinyl, try to line that up with the edge of the glass. And it's going to kind of roll up a little bit so we know it's not going to be perfect. And then I'm just going to try to get this part nice and flat. Okay, I'm happy with that. So now all I have to do, everything, ooh, that was loud, is still on my roll. So what I'm going to do is just try to roll this on here, and this may decide to not, oh well, I've got some centers, I have E's that have centers, so that's not gonna work. Not gonna work. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, and this is me just being lazy and doing a little half job here. We're gonna reuse this transfer tape, and I'm just gonna put it around the areas where I need it, and I only really need it over the lettering because the rest of it is just extra. Okay, oh my gosh, okay. Do as I say, not as I do. And then I'm just going to try to take this part, knowing that my corners are not going to be completely perfect, but I do want to try my best to get that top edge as close to that edge as I can. And then I'm really only going to be worried about burnishing down this area right here that has all of the areas that I'm going to etch. I don't really care if the rest of this design, like all of this area on the side, I don't really care about that. Because I'm not etching over it, so it doesn't have to be perfect or pretty because that is coming up. And of course I overlaid my vinyl. Okay. Some of that did not even stick down that great, but that's okay. I'm just going to peel back my vinyl. These centers are a lot bigger, so they're going to stay a little easier. And as I say that, the E doesn't want to stay. Just take your time, peeling back that vinyl to make sure all the pieces are there. Okay. And then again, I'm just going to come right around those letters. This is the area that I'm worried the most about, making sure I have no air bubbles, no creases in my vinyl. We want this part of it right around the letter to look very nice and pretty. Scraper. Sometimes that means scraping in multiple directions to try to push those letters where they need to go. Sometimes you need to like pick up a part of that letter and just, oh, and that piece just broke off. Cool. Let me just try to stick that back down where it goes. That is the center of my P. See if we can salvage it. And then just being gentle. So the thing I've learned the most with this etching is that it's never going to be perfect. And, you know, if you are a perfect crafter, or, you know, that's what you strive to be a perfect crafter, then etching cream's probably not the thing you want to be spending your time on. You just have to know going into it that it's not going to be perfect. And then if you can just accept that, the outcomes will look really nice. Especially when you're doing it on curved surfaces like this. Okay, let's peel back this part again. All of this that doesn't want to sit flat, I can actually put a little trim in there. I don't care if it doesn't sit flat, but I can put a little cut, make that flattened out. Let's see if we can get this part to work though. Let's press those centers back in. And, oh gosh, I wasn't paying attention and this piece got too big and is now pulling out parts of my part here that I worked so hard to get into place. Gosh darn. Well, now I really just have to accept that my centers might not be full. So I'm just going to peel nice and slow. Okay, that's looking better. Okay, we got that on there. Again, the sides, I don't care. But I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to work out the wrinkles that are right around my designs. And, you know, sometimes you just have to press these in multiple directions to try to get those creases out. But just take your time and you'll figure out which way they want to go. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to cut this again on this side. And that's just making sure, actually I can even like take some of this and say, I don't need all that extra. Okay, now that lays a lot flatter. Now I can come back to this side, can press out this side. I can get this to lay a lot flatter. So we're throwing in multiple things here, okay? We tried, I showed you how to do the cross cut. We did matless cutting. Now with this, we're applying on a curved surface and we're gonna etch. So pulling all sorts of techniques together on this one project. And then we did some regular weeding. We did some reverse weeding by adding it to our transfer tape first. This little section here wants to be a problem. So it seems like once you get one side looking great, you got to go back and make the other side look great. And sometimes it's easier just to peel up some of that and then try to just lay back down. I had a crease starting there and I don't want that crease there. So now I can just kind of lay this back down and just press it down as I go. Especially with the cursive text, it can be challenging to get these to lay how you want them because there's no give. You know, these pieces are the length that they are. So they don't have a lot of give on the way that they can transform. Whereas like block letters, you could like peel up each letter individually and lay them back down if you needed to. Okay, I think that looks good. Get that little bit out. Whew. Okay. Check this part again. And then some of these like are just not going to come out. So I just have to be careful when I go and add the etching cream. Okay, now let's get on to the fun part. The etching cream. Etching cream is toxic. Make sure you're in a well-ventilated area. Don't wear nice clothes like I am. And put some gloves on, protect your skin. Let me get my hair out of my way. And then I've got some paper towels on hand. And I have my etching armor here and a paintbrush, a dry brush. And I'm pretty sure it will not etch onto plastic and some Pyrex. Well, this is not technically Pyrex, it's glass, but we'll see. It's been a minute since I've used this, so let me make sure. I'm pretty sure. Maybe you don't have to shake it. Okay, let me know in the comments. Do you shake yours first, or do you not? Okay. Doesn't really say. So just says apply. So I'm not going to shake it. We'll see if it makes a difference. Seems like it looks okay. So I've just got my lovely little paintbrush here. I'm putting quite a bit on there. I'm going to start with these larger areas. And the key to it is just to dab straight down, not to brush it around, because the brushing action where you're sweeping it back and forth is how you're going to get it underneath of the vinyl, and you don't want to do that. So I'm just going to come through and dab up and down in all of those areas. So you see I'm kind of heavy-handed, but I just am doing that to make sure that I'm going to get enough cream all over where I want this to work. And this is all we have to do, is just dabbing up and down, putting that cream on there. So have you heard of these giving plates before? Is this a thing that you've done? Do you have some? I can't say that I've seen any in stores, but like this is a thing I've seen on Pinterest for a long time. And I was like, yeah, I should make one of those. Yeah, I should make one of those. And like, here we are like a million years later. And I'm like, finally like, all right, this is the year. I am making some giving plates. And I am going to, what did I find? Oh, I found a nice chocolate chip cookie recipe that I'm going to try. And that is going to be my neighbor Christmas gifts. We tend to, a couple of my neighbors, we all drop goodies at each other's house. So that's what my goodies are going to be. I was hoping that I was going to have grow enough to like give everybody pickles and like some different things, some salsa or something from the garden, but it is not an amazing first attempt at my garden. So we'll just have to stick with, the classic, everybody's getting cookies instead of healthy food for Christmas. When, like my mom, we were from, she was, well, both of us, born in Texas, and she was raised there. And so they do this, like, it's called Texas trash. And it is a, like Chex Mix and different, I don't even know what's all in there, but it's like a trail mix type of thing, but it's spicy. And so that is what we used to give growing up. We'd make that for the neighbors every year. And now I'm just like, will you please just make me some mild version of that? I don't tolerate the spice real well, but there is something about that Texas trash that is really good. Tell me in the comments, what do you do for neighbor gifts? I'm always like looking for new ideas of like small things that I can do or make for my neighbors. So I'm just curious what you do, or do you do anything at all? I don't know. It seems like not everybody has super friendly neighbors. I live on the corner, and so like my next door neighbor is really friendly, and then 2 doors down is a really nice neighbor that I have, where we swap gardening tips and stuff. So that's been kind of fun. But yeah, okay, so, and then you get like chunky strings like that. I'm just gonna wipe that off on my towel. This bottle of, what is this called? Armor Etch. This is a 10-ounce bottle. It is a huge bottle, and this will probably last me literally forever. I had a 2-ounce bottle, and I don't think I used it all up, but I have no idea what happened to it. So this is a big bottle. You can see here, even though I'm laying this on thick, just going up and down, I've used maybe a 1/4 of this bottle. And I also don't do a ton of these kinds of projects. I think so far I've done, we tested out the vinyl on a bunch of wine glasses. So I think I had maybe, I don't remember, like maybe 8 or 10 wine glasses that we did the same design on. And then I made another wine glass. And then this project. So I haven't like done a whole bunch of this. I really need to I always love the technique and the way it looks. And I really should just pull this out more often. It's not hard to do. It's a little bit time consuming, sitting here brushing it all, weeding out the vinyl, making the vinyl stencils. It takes a minute, and then you want to let this sit for a little bit to really let it dig in, to let it etch etch into the wine. Etch into the glass. Oh goodness. So like but it doesn't take any longer than anything else. It's just kind of a messy project. But my next one I want to do with the etching cream is I want to try it on a mirror. So we'll be doing that at some point. Please, if you've done it, spam me with your photos of the things you've done with etching cream. I'm curious. I need some new ideas of what to do, but I think this is going to turn out really cool. And I told you why I don't use the vinyl on the other side. I think if you were going to do the vinyl, you would have to cure it with something. And I'm still just like a little iffy with curing it on there. And yeah, sure, you could put some parchment down before you put things on your plate, but will everybody do that? I don't know. And I don't know, I don't know. I get funny about crafting where your mouth goes, Even when I do my cups and stuff, I make sure that nothing is on the rim, because I don't want to eat vinyl. I don't want to drink vinyl or etching cream or any of it. So those are my thoughts. Okay, so we are almost done. Oh no, I still have this whole bottom piece here. So I'm just gonna keep on doing this, and I will be back when I'm all done. Okay, I think I'm done. I keep trying to touch up little spots, and then at a certain point, I just have to decide it's enough. Enough is enough, and be done with it. Okay, this is got crusty stuff all over it, so I'm just gonna close that over my napkin. Granted, I'm still gonna have to clean my table. This says to let it sit 1 to 3 minutes. I like to wait a good solid 5 minutes to give it some extra time to really etch it in there. And it does say on here to brush on a thick layer. And then when it's done sitting, I'm going to take it over to the sink, With the vinyl still on there, I'm going to use running water, rinse everything off, and then you remove the stencil. So I'm gonna wait 5 minutes. I'll go rinse it all off, and then I will bring it back here. Actually, I'm gonna peel the stencil while I'm over the sink too, and just in case there's some etching armor that's underneath the vinyl. I want to make sure that I clean it really well. So I guess what I'm telling you is I will be back with the big reveal of how everything looks. So I'll see you in a few minutes. And of course for you, it's just going to be a few seconds. So see you in a bit. Are you ready for the big reveal? Okay. So you know how I told you, scrub it all off and then peel the vinyl off. Well, I did that on the outer rim. And then on the inside part, I don't know what I was thinking. I was like, oh my gosh, here I am doing the opposite of what I just told you to do. I'm just going to chalk it up to some brain fog, okay? Well, I love the way that this turned out. Can you see that? It turned out pretty darn good. Definitely some of the small letters here. Oh, and it's upside down, I think, or backwards, upside down. Okay, there we go. But there's definitely some of the small lettering in here is difficult to read. Some of that's probably from me being dumb and not doing it the right way when I went and rinsed it. Again, leave all the vinyl on. Rinse it all off really well. I kind of scrubbed at it a little bit, which, you know, it's probably not the best, but like if you just sit there and run it underwater, unless you're going to like do it in the kitchen sink with a sprayer, it's not, it doesn't just like come right off. So definitely still have some technique tweaking to do in that aspect. But overall, I think it's easy to tell what this says. The giving plate. This plate belongs to no one. It's meant to roam. Bringing warmth and love from home to home. Fill it with treats, with joy or a song, then pass it forward and keep love strong. So that's what this one says. And then let me read you what the other one says. So the other one, let me show you here, has the giving plate on the inside, and then it says, from friend to friend, this plate will roam, spreading love from home to home. So that one's a little bit easier to read, but those are the two that we have. And remember, you can grab these for free down here at my website. Go ahead and throw in your informations. Grab both of these. They come in SVG and Studio file formats. That way it doesn't matter what version of Silhouette Studio you have, you can still use these. Okay, that's what I have for you. Grab those freebies and then throw me some comments or send me an email. Let me know how yours turned out, or if you have some tips for me on like how to make these look better. All right, I'll see you next time. Bye. Oh, don't forget, check out some videos here. These are also some extra videos that I think you'll like. Yeah, check those out too. Okay, bye.